I don't mind being taxed more. I wrote a blog 20 years ago saying it's the most patriotic thing you can do after military service is pay your taxes, because that's what allows everybody, to live and to prosper. But yeah, the idea of just soak the rich, billionaire tears that sell that cup. Screw you, Elizabeth Warren. You're everything wrong with politics.
Okay. Okay, then. All right.
So that was Mark Cuban, who was chatting it up with Kara Swisher over at Vox Media's Code Conference in Los Angeles. And so he clearly has caught some feelings over the commentary that rich people like him have been receiving from the tiny group of progressive lawmakers in Congress, Elizabeth Warren being one of them. And what I found interesting in his statement there, John, is that everything that's wrong with politics in his mind is that the rich aren't being treated fairly enough. Like there aren't enough patty cakes for the rich. And so saying anything even a little negative toward them is everything that's wrong with politics, apparently. Apparently in a political system where they get to legally bribe our politicians to cut their taxes, to do away with regulations that end up hurting all of us. None of that is bad. It's just the mean comments toward rich people. That's the bad stuff.
Yeah. Also, I understand people throw around words without caring about what they mean, phrases as well. But the idea that Elizabeth Warren is everything that's wrong with politics, I mean, she's some of the things that are wrong with politics, but there's a lot of bad stuff going on in our politics, especially recently. Let's acknowledge that. This is erasure of a lot of really bad people, and I'm not going to stand for it. But anyway, it's everything that you said from the class perspective. It's also like this individual thing that you'll often see with people who are mostly maybe trying to do the right thing, or at the very least, they think of themselves as being one of the people who's trying to do the right thing. He presents himself right there as, no, I'm one of the good ones. I wrote a blog 20 years ago that said that I'd be in favor of this, but now they're being mean. Well, I think this is a pretty amazing test of how much you actually want to be a part of the solution. If your willingness to, I guess, oppose maybe the expected, like the expectations of your class and support higher taxes is gone as soon as someone sells a novelty mug, then I don't think you really cared about it that much anyway. You have to be willing to understand that in a complex struggle that is inherently political, you're not going to like everything that's said. So look, I'm a white male, obviously. In the past, I've looked it up. White males have done some bad things. Actually, you don't even have to go back that far. They've done and said some bad things. And some of those excesses need to stop.
They need a special master.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I love that title.
God, this just got a little bit. We'll talk in the bonus episode. If someone was fighting against, for instance, the patriarchy or white supremacy, do they have to be 100% polite all the time or fear insulting me slightly, maybe even accidentally? And if they do, I'm done. Nope, don't care anymore. Screw it. White males on top. Like that's not, you're not actually committed at that point. You need to understand that this is a complex thing. It's rough and tumble. He presents himself as a person like that anyway. So just the needless tears and like making yourself out to be a victim when you're a literal billionaire. Yeah, no,
I just love how delicate they are over a mug. Like oftentimes I do think about what would a wealthy billionaire like Mark Cuban do if they were exposed to the kind of hate that I'm exposed to? Like just like suicidal. Like I'm not even kidding, right? Like the daily harassment, the daily lies about what my positions are about various issues. Like I don't know what they would do. They would lose it. But I also don't believe that he's in any way sincere or genuine about wanting to raise taxes on the rich. I don't believe it. I don't care. I don't even know if he wrote that blog that he's referring to, but I find it very patriotic to pay more in taxes. Even if he did, understand that he is attacking one of a handful of politicians who has called for higher taxes. So for me, it's not about the mug. I don't think it's about the mug. I think it's about the few politicians, Elizabeth Warren being one of them, who want to redistribute wealth in this country so we have a little more of an even playing field. So the programs that people need to climb up that economic ladder have the federal funding necessary to actually work, you know? And the fact that he's so touchy about that subject, I just think that the mug thing is a proxy. Like he's pretending to be, yeah, that's what I think this is really about. Because if you genuinely wanted to pay more in taxes, if you genuinely thought it was the patriotic thing to do, then you would actually fight to change the system, and you would support politicians who want to pursue higher taxes for the rich. But he's instead attacking one of the politicians who's been very vocal in taxing wealth. Now, other things that came up during this conversation, he said that, I actually kind of agree with him on this. Cuban called for people to move away from a two-party system, even recommending women start their own party. I don't know about the women starting their own party thing, but I don't know about moving away from a two-party system. What I do know is that in reality, most voters aren't like hard left or hard right. People tend to be a mixed bag. And I think the discourse that we see online deludes people into thinking that you're either hard left or hard right. No, most people are complicated. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to be complicated. I think it's okay to be a little moderate on some issues, farther left on other issues. I mean, I don't identify with anything on the right, so I can't really speak to that. But I know that there are people who have mixed views on various political issues, and I think that's okay. I have a problem with the black and white thinking that we see online far too often. The other thing that he mentioned was, I think now, especially after Roe, women are stepping up. You know, why don't they start a political party and have nothing but women and have so much power, so much strength, so much momentum with women? You don't need guys who look like me by a long shot, he said. Any thoughts on that comment?
I have no doubt that he's got to be pretty intelligent, I guess. He's done okay for himself, but he's definitely cosplaying being an idiot with that. Or at the very least, it's supposed to, like, I don't know. He was being interviewed by a woman, I believe. Is it supposed to be like an easy, cheap applause line? Like, yeah, they can do it just by themselves. Yeah, but why would they have to do it by themselves? So would they not be trying to get men to vote for them? Like to organize with them, to knock on doors? Why would this be the thing? Like, why can't those interests be pursued in a party that's not only done along gender? It doesn't even make any sense. What it honestly sounds like is if he's taking it seriously, it sounds like a way to try to make sure that you peel off probably liberal women, because those are the ones that would join this group, making it impossible for Democrats to win elections. The Republicans stay in power. He gets more tax cuts. That's what it seems like he's actually advocating for, but trying to get a couple women to applaud him along the way.
Ladies, am I right? Yeah, it definitely does feel like that. No question.
Yeah, status quo.
Yes. Yeah,
That's totally what it sounds like.
Totally.